What are we on? Microphone only?
We're
Audio?
we're on MySpace.
We need like cameras also. We need to do like video podcasts.
Yeah, at some point in time we should do that. Hello and welcome everyone to episode 145 of the Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you can hear all week long. We are your hosts, Stephen, Kenny, and Anthony. What's going on, Kenny?
Good evening, Anthony. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, and I got to tell you a funny story.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was actually up in Georgetown visiting my parents.
The 40324.
Is that what it is? I don't
Yes,
even know the
sir.
zip code.
I'm in retail sales.
So, yeah.
40342 is Lawrenceburg. 41031 is Cynthian. I just got all these stupid zip codes in my freaking brain. I can't get rid of them.
So you got the zip codes
40356 is Nicholasville. It's
there you go.
Useless info I have.
Yeah. So I mentioned to my mom that I might have to record a podcast soon. And she said, "Oh, you're recording with Stephen and Kenny." And I said, "Well, I don't know if we're going to record with Stephen or not." I said, "But might see Kenny." And she said, "He's fun. I've met him before." And then she said, "Is he the older gentleman?"
I'm the older gentleman with the hard nipple in the picture of UK. That's who I am.
Oh, man, no. She just said that in fun. And I said, "Mom, I'm going to tell him that on the podcast." And she's like, "You cannot say that." She's like, "That's not what I meant. He was fun. I talked to him." But you've met my mom before.
I have not.
I thought you did. You
Nope.
didn't meet my mom?
Never, man.
Okay, then maybe she's talking about Stephen.
Possibly. I've not met her before.
Steven's the old gentleman. No, she said she thought she met you one time. I think she was at the house, and you may have popped by for something. So
We might have been in line waiting for like a Blanton left-facing horse at Liquor Barn one time.
that may have been it.
That might be it.
My parents are known to go hit the lines up, so they get excited about that. They go and they hunt bourbon. Yeah. So how you doing, man?
I am actually very good. You know how I'm going, even though you asked that.
So, Kenny's.
Let's just say a buddy of ours was in town tonight,
That's right.
and his name we'll just say is, let's just say Larry.
Larry, okay. All right.
Larry was in town
around.
tonight, and let's just say 2012, Michter's 20.
Oh, my God.
2014, Michter's 20.
Yeah.
Pappy Van Winkle 15 year.
That's right. I forgot all about that. How could I forget?
1992, Elmer T. Lee.
Right.
Some 2016, 2015, 13 to 15-year-old Willets.
I wasn't even here for half this. That was not, seriously.
A 27-year Willet.
Right.
So let's just say I am doing very good right now.
Very, very,
good. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So you got to enjoy the fruits a little bit more than I did.
Yes,
we'll just
sir.
say that.
Yes,
but
sir.
we're also suffering from the Kentucky weather this week, and we normally don't mention weather.
Do you hear me? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. We had a 40, 50 degrees,
40 to 45 degree temperature swing, dude.
Man.
Nuts.
So we always say that weather is great for the bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful for the
It
warehouses, good for the absorption and the contraction and everything for the wood and the bourbon going in there, but it's not really great on the sinuses.
Bro.
And it's
it
not
is nuts.
great for the wardrobe either, you know? I can't even tell what parka I'm supposed to wear.
Dude, no. I will wear a t-shirt and all of a sudden I'm freezing.
Yeah.
I wear a hoodie and I'm friggin' sweating.
I know,
and it is hard to keep up.
Yeah. It's that time of the year in the bluegrass where really, all things considered, I'm really ticked off, but I'm really happy when it's warm. But then when it gets like it is, expecting snow soon, and then it's going to be 70 degrees.
Tornadoes
the next day.
expected earlier today, and we
Yeah.
luckily did not get tornadoes.
Right, which it was brutal. Yes.
But now it's expecting snow.
Yep.
And it's insane.
Yeah. We keep going back and forth. So one last thing I want to mention, and I didn't even clear this with you, sir, but I want to get your perspective on it, is do you have any thoughts on, I haven't read up on it, but this legislation that's now moving back through the state of Kentucky where they're talking about pulling back on the vintage spirits law. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, so I did, man. So 2018 was the vintage spirits law.
Right.
2018, basically anything that is not available from a distributor in the quote-unquote Commonwealth of Kentucky
Right.
is considered vintage.
Right.
And so any of the retailers could buy whatever they wanted under that law. Mm-hmm. Seller could sell what they wanted to sell.
Right.
So the new thing coming through is if you sell more than 24 bottles of quote-unquote vintage to anybody, you can now get hit with a misdemeanor for the first offense and a felony for the second offense. Mm-hmm. But they still haven't laid out what the years are.
Right.
And so it is, I mean, how it was before was if it's not available from a distributor. So let's say you call your distributor on a Thursday and, hey, I want to order 12 Blanton.
I want 12 Rock Hill Farms.
Or 12 Rock Hill Farms.
Yeah.
That distributor does not have Rock Hill Farms for you.
Right.
So Rock Hill Farms at that point is considered a vintage spirit.
Right. So the interpretation, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's where this gets hairy. Right. But laws are interpreted in different ways.
Different ways.
Trying to give you the legalese here, sir.
But the legalese is now if you were to sell more than 24 bottles,
right,
you can now get in trouble yourself. If it passes.
And here's the thing, okay? I am not a big seller. I've never been down selling bottles and bottles to people, even after the vintage spirits law.
And dude, you crack bottles and drink them. I do. Right, I love that about you.
100%.
Yes, 100%.
So here's the thing. This might not affect me, but what does affect me is the fact that I've seen a lot of businesses come up on this model. And I think they've done it in a legit way. And I also think that they've made actual vintage bourbon more accessible and actually, in a retail space made buyers feel more comfortable that they can trust what they're buying, right?
Right.
Instead of going underground and buying it from markets, you don't know if somebody...
the 7-Eleven.
You don't know if it's refilled. Right. You don't know this and that. So Kentucky did a great thing by opening that market up and making it legitimate for retail. Now they're pulling back on it because they're going to Kentucky. We're going to go back in time now. And for whatever reason, we're going to go back. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's going to be a hit to our tourism. It's going to be a hit to our businesses. And I'm just like, I mean, without going into all the nuances of it, I just feel like it's a lot of backward stuff. And
it's going to drive more underground.
Right. It's going to drive people back underground.
Yes.
So instead of having a store legitimately vet and buy 24 bottles from someone, that person's going to sell 300 on some weird secondary market somewhere.
Yeah, in the freaking parking lot of Kmart somewhere.
Yeah, and they're probably going to scam somebody. So
right, dude.
Good job. I mean, I'm not going to say anything else about it, but I wondered what your perspective was. It was really driving me a little nuts when I saw that. I'm like, I feel like we're going back and forth.
Man. It's you know me, man. I am a less government guy anyway.
Right.
So you know me.
And if you're in the local Lexington area and you are like, what are they talking about? Our local newspaper, so Lexington Herald Leader, literally has probably 2 articles a week about bourbon.
Yeah.
Like it can be bourbon releases, it can be whatever, but they cover the legislation, they cover other things, and it's like, it's constant. It's in the news cycle here locally, and that's why we're commenting about it.
So we do have a shout out this week, bro.
We do, and this one is actually something we're going to have to talk about after we give the shout out. So the title of this shout out was Traveler.
Yeah.
And
but he spelled it with 1 L.
He did.
And
oh my God, it's 2 L's. Where you at? Right. That was the American Traveler. So this is a 5-star review. And this person said, great review of an entry-level whiskey. As for Stapleton being sober, he says he's not sober as it relates to totally dry. He just cut way back from his early drinking days. Tennessee whiskey was originally released by David Allan Coe in 1982 and later by George Jones in 1983. Like many artists, Stapleton covered a great song on his debut album. And this 5-star review was from Illinois Stro, S-T-R-O, on Apple Podcasts a little bit of time ago on 2/11/24. But we appreciate that 5-star review. But we got to talk about it here for a second because you not only gave us a 5-star review, but you critiqued our knowledge.
When I saw that review, it honestly made me want to sharpen my axe.
Right, exactly.
I want to get sharper.
Right.
I want to not go off of just what is on the line and like your basic reviews. I want to like literally get to the nitty and gritty before I say anything factual now.
No, and I agree.
I did appreciate that review.
I did too. And the other thing I was going to say is I was joking. I'll blame Steven. I'd be like, Steven, do your research. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Because I could do the research as well. Kenny could. But like, number one, I didn't know that song was a remake, Tennessee Whiskey, because I don't listen to enough country music to know that was David Allan Coe. and then George Jones. So, I mean, a lot of great songs are covered multiple times. That's great. And then now, since I've seen this review, when it first came through, I was like, dang, we really botched that one. But I have seen multiple articles about Stapleton saying he has a large whiskey collection at home. You'll see it, but he doesn't engage with it like he used to once upon a time. So it's like saying that, like, you know, I drank, 5 times a month. Now I drink once a month. You know what I mean? That's kind of where he's at. And so we really appreciate that. And I think it shows that our listeners are engaged and actually care about the podcast, right?
Right. No, totally, man. No, I agree.
Offer that critique with a 5-star review. Doesn't bother us.
It makes me want to be better.
Right.
Presenting factual information.
Absolutely. Doesn't bother me one bit.
However, we definitely say this is a no facts zone.
Yeah. You've heard us say multiple times from the beginning of the podcast, if you heard on the mashup, it might be true, but it might not be true. And that's because, like, we're like everybody else, man. We're just trying to keep it casual. We're just trying to give basic, information.
Right.
Mostly talk about how whiskey tastes, but when we start going down the rabbit hole to research, we can get... I know I've gotten sidetracked on many things, right?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
No, same
here. Throw some Garrard County in there on you?
Garrard. However, Chris Stapleton, dude, that music it just makes you just want to sit back and close your eyes and just see where it takes you, bro.
Yeah, great music. And even
stuff.
if I revisited Traveler, I'm not going to lie, I revisited it like probably a couple weeks back right after we did the episode and one other time after that. And then I told my cousin, I said, hey, when your parents come down to visit Kentucky, I said, whatever bottles you were wanting to get off me, get those, and I'll give you a half bottle of Traveler because I'm ready to move on from it. I don't really like it all that much, and I stand by my review originally. I'm just kind of like, don't have room for it in my collection, but it's all good. We appreciate that 5-star review, regardless of how we feel about that whiskey.
Thank you so much for that review.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you would like to give us a shout out, just do so at the appropriate locations.
Since
Steven's not here tonight, I'm going to just say the appropriate locations.
I like that. We can maybe have
you can mail it to me, and I can give you my address. It's in Lexington.
Snail mail.
You can send it to whatever you want to freaking send it. Listen to a previous episode, and you'll know where to send it.
Goodness gracious. That would be great, yeah. But no, seriously, keep them coming on Apple Podcasts. Talk to us on Facebook,
snail
Instagram, snail mail, Kenny. And
carrier pigeon.
We'll get you taken care of.
So, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
How was last night, bro?
Oh, man.
Fun times.
That was fantastic. So, fun times. I mean, I don't want to blow the cover here, but the bottle that we're going to talk about tonight is a direct result of an experience that we had, which was partially planned, but partially by chance. So when I say that, I had no intention of going to this event until I got kind of hung up at work, and the event happened to be down the street from where I work.
Dude.
And I thought to myself, like, this is going to be pretty amazing, so I should go over there and check it out. So we'll get to the bottle here in a moment. But basically, Justin's House of Bourbon, which is a very revered establishment here in Lexington, Kentucky, they were hosting, or they said they're going to host the Master Distiller from Ben Holladay Bourbon.
Out of Missouri.
Out of Missouri, yes, absolutely. And so I don't know a ton about Ben Holladay, and I just thought, okay, opportunity to meet Master Distiller. If it fits into my schedule, I'll make it down there. That's kind of was my disposition for it. And so we got a little group text that involves a couple people in the community. We're talking about going over there. Alves, he said, yeah, come over. It's going to be a great event, the whole bit. So I may have been, the first of our group that arrived there.
Yes. Yeah. I was supposed to get off work at 5.
Right.
And I ended up not getting off work till like 6:10, so I got there late, unfortunately.
Right. And I had been there, like, I got off work at like 5:15. I got there maybe 20 after 5. And there wasn't...
see in your eyes when I got there. They were glassy.
Come on. They were not glassy.
They weren't. I'm just teasing.
No, I was going to say... So I got there, hung out a little bit, chatted. All the people that work at J-Hob are amazing. I got to hang out with them. And
were the Holladay guys not just cool as can be, though?
Oh, the Holladay guys are amazing. But it's funny because at first I want to approach because you could tell there's a couple people that got there that were like fans, of the brand. And I'm like, okay, these are the hardcore fans. They got to hang back. They got to have their time.
Right.
With the Master Distiller, with the accounts dude, they have their time talking to the brand people because they're the ones that are really supporting the brand. I know literally nothing about them. So I hung back, And then when I had my opportunity, I went up there and I had some fun, asked some questions, got some pours, had a great time. But it kind of led to us wanting to do this episode tonight.
Yeah. So, Ben Holladay is out of Missouri, and it is their own distillate. So it's not a source distillate.
Right.
And they had 4 of their core products there last night.
Right.
Soft red wheat, they call Rickhouse proof, which is like barrel proof.
I like that Rickhouse proof.
Rickhouse proof,
cast strength. Yeah.
Dude, I got t-shirts say Rickhouse proof.
Oh, nice. Very good.
Then they had bourbon, bottled and bond.
Okay.
Then they had bottled and bond Rickhouse proof. So that was their 4 core products. And then there was the Justin's House of Bourbon single barrel pick.
Yeah, I think I was 7 years old, right?
7 years old.
Yep.
And there was a Bourbon Lore 18 barrel blend pick there as well.
Oh, that's what that was.
I was wondering what that was.
I tasted that and I'm like, what is that? I had no idea what that was. It's pretty cool.
But it was cool because it's their own distillate, man.
Right. Exactly.
They're not just a new distiller popping up that's sourcing from MGP and Barton and BBC and whatever. And
I know.
It's their own stuff.
And of all places, it's in Missouri. And we're going to get into the brand and a little bit of the bottle here in a second. But because it's in Missouri, and we've told you before on this podcast, we're a little bit like Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee centric. We ventured to Ohio, New York, a couple other places in terms of the things that we taste. But I don't know that I've ever had anything from Missouri. Have you, sir?
Just this.
Yeah.
My first experience with this was Alves gave me some blinds, dude, probably 6 months to a year ago.
Okay.
He was like, try this and see what you think blind. And it really stood out good. It ended up being a barrel that he picked.
Very good.
But yeah, that's my first real experience with the Missouri bourbon.
Nice. So let's get right to it here. Let me tell you about the bottle that we have tonight. And you might have to help me out here. We might do a combo on this one.
Yeah.
What we have tonight that we're reviewing is a Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond straight bourbon whiskey. And the distillery is Holladay Distillery in Weston, Missouri. The bottle date is 2024. And although I'd love to have a cork sound for you here, instead I have
screw cap,
I have
bro.
a screw cap. Here we go.
Dude, screw cap.
Get that off there. Whoop. Oh, I just lost it under the table.
Who doesn't love a screw cap, though? You can travel well with a screw cap. My wife loves a screw cap because it goes in the camper and traveling very well.
And I think I lost. Okay, yes, the screw cap has ricocheted off the dog. So here we go. It's right here.
There it is.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
And so
Diesel's beneath the table.
we got Kenny's dogs going on here. They're rousing now. But the ABV on this is 50. The proof is 100. The mash bill is 73% corn, 15% rye, and 12% malted barley. And the MSRP on this is $59.99. And if you're looking to find it, I think they're in limited markets right now. Is that right?
But they are available on bourbonoutfitter.com.
Correct.
If they're not available right now on Bourbon Outfitter, they'll be back in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
So if you're not in the state where they are, because they are not in all states, and they on purpose, after dinner last night, talking to them extensively, they do not want to be in every state.
Really?
They want to keep it more people that really want good juice and good stuff and want their stuff. So
I appreciate that.
If not, Bourbon Outfitter will have them. I think I might have saw an email from Silbox, maybe.
I did actually, yeah.
I saw an email. I don't like Blake and Silbox, so I just prefer Bourbon Outfitter better.
Yeah.
But Bourbon Outfitter does not play around when it comes to packaging your bottles to make sure that you get exactly what you want in the state you want it.
Right,
So,
and I will second that. I buy from multiple people online, and I know that nobody does a better job than bourbonoutfitter.com. So if you can get your Ben Holladay from them, we recommend that you do that for sure, 100%. So before we get too far into the event and everything and other history about the brand, I like this bottle. So looking at it, it's got kind of like a throwback feel to it.
totally throwback feel.
Yeah, it's like vintage, almost like a vintage T-shirt would be, right? Their label looks like something that I could see on a T-shirt where I would go, that's an interesting T-shirt. I want to know more about it, like a retro T-shirt.
And the last bottle I didn't mention was a 1988
Okay.
Ben Holladay at the event we had.
Okay.
A Dusty.
They had one there?
Yes.
Oh, that was the one in the
that
speakeasy
was that
room.
caramel,
I got
brown
you.
sugar.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So, but this label being more the throwback is 100% accurate. They are legit tied back to way back when.
Oh, absolutely.
So I believe that's why their label comes off as that old school, because they are legit tied into the way back when.
Right. And everything that they have with their label looks great, and they have like the fake tack strip kind of looking thing, but it really it sells authentic. I love it. It's a regular whiskey bottle. They have DSP number 5 really big embossed on the back. It's just a really nice classic looking bottle. I mean, there's nothing that I don't have any qualms with it at all.
And on the label, they actually talk specifically about the floor and what percent comes from where and what rick house, and they're very open about everything.
Right. They got the distilled and bottle date on there, which is great. So this one that we're looking at
tonight. No smoke and mirrors like Daddy says.
Come on, man. Don't say anything bad about my Buffalo Trace.
I'm sorry.
You always do that, and I love that.
I'm sorry. We came about this bottle because, honestly, they
were nice enough.
They hooked up enough to give us give us a bottle.
Which was incredibly generous of them.
And we are very upfront about that we typically buy all of our own bottles.
Yes.
We just happen to get this bottle for free.
Wait a minute, Kenny. We had to go to an event, and we had to beg. I'm just kidding. To get a bottle on this podcast, to have somebody actually provide a bottle.
I wouldn't say beg.
I'm just having fun.
I would just say that anybody that knows me, there is what's called Kenny Mills pocket pours.
Uh-huh.
I did pocket pour a few very special bottles.
Okay.
So after the pocket pours,
they were like, "Hey,"
they were like, "Let's give you this bottle."
They said, "Here you go." But it's
very
funny.
special pocket pours were given out last night.
And again, I was kind of tongue in cheek, being sarcastic. You know that because most of these podcasts get nonstop, inbox mails coming in constantly. Just getting nothing but samples. And that doesn't mean they can't be objective. I'm just saying that for us, this is a big leap for us to actually have a bottle that's provided by the source.
It is.
Because we don't have that very often. So
I have poured 2 or 3 blinds to go against this.
Okay.
Because I'm just, even though the bottle's given for free.
Yep.
Free don't mean crap to me.
Right. I agree. Free don't mean crap to me.
Nope. I'm going to test it where it is, bro.
Oh, man. I freaking love that.
I even poured you a blind to go against it, and you don't know what the blind is yet.
I know I don't. I have no idea what it is, but I'm eagerly looking forward to getting to this.
Remove the label, remove the veil, remove the marketing, and that's where we are, bro.
Yeah. So the people we hung with were the Master Distiller, who is Kyle Merklein, and Joe Quinn, who is their accounts manager.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Did I get that correct?
Yeah, they're both honestly just legitimately awesome. They're cool as can
super cool people, salt of the earth. It was funny when I was talking to Kyle, I had to qualify because our mutual friend Jordan was there, and he just said, I can't believe something I was about to say was so stupid. He goes, and it's inspired by you. He said it about me, and I'm like, and I had to qualify to Kyle, who's the Master Distiller of Holladay. I'm like, I'm the one who says a lot of stupid stuff in our messages, and he kind of laughed, thinking, okay, so you're that guy. I'm like, yeah. So I might have said something about can I make pancakes with the soft red wheat or something stupid? And so, people were like, I imagine what I say to a Master Distiller when I meet him, and I'm over there talking about dumb stuff. And so it was a lot of fun. They're just great people. They were just really easy to talk to.
People, dude.
It was just really cool getting to know them. And I don't know, do you have any other good experiences you want to talk about with them?
I just at dinner last night, I was just nerding out talking to Kyle, man.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Let's start nosing this, and
all right, let's
go for it and see what we got going on here.
Here we go. Here we go. Let's nose.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna go ahead and pour me a little bit more if that's cool.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna kind of kick us off on the nose here, and I kind of feel a little naked because I know that Steven sometimes he really enjoys nosing his bourbon, and that's oftentimes he leads us off sometimes on the nose. But for me, I'm getting the sweetness. I'm getting a nice caramel. Also getting some spice, which, it's funny. When I talk about a nose and spice, that's not something I typically pull out. I try to pull out the things that I call the more solids of the bourbon, right?
I get the sweet and the caramel on the nose.
The sweet caramel on the nose. And the spice is I guess almost like a little bit of a baking spice, or to me, almost a little bit of fall spice. I don't know if that's a Midwestern sensibilities coming in here. Do we consider Missouri Midwest? Is Missouri Midwest?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a Midwest.
Oh, it is.
I feel like in Ohio I've been lied to. I grew up in Ohio and people are like, oh, it's the Midwest. I don't know if it's Midwest or not, but I feel like that's kind of got that flavor.
Chicago has that vibe, man, so it's close, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm getting a little bit of that too, like the little bit of Midwest grit.
Garrett's
comes through on the
popcorn,
nose.
is that what you have?
What's that?
You get the Garrett's popcorn vibe?
Garrett's popcorn vibe, there you go.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah, I have once seen Kenny with Garrett's popcorn, sitting and enjoying his night.
You have to post that on the mashup Instagram.
There you go. We got to see Kenny with his massive tub of popcorn. That'd be perfect.
Oh, so good.
But this is a nice nose. I enjoy it. The ethanol is not very strong. And it's funny to be a day or two removed here from that event. And, events are kind of weird because they're a little frantic. You want to try things. People are going around. They're talking. People are influencing each other and stuff like that. But now we're like away from the event. We're here just with our microphones and we're taking it in. And I actually think this is better nosing than it was.
Oh my gosh. I was going to ask you that.
I was going to say,
is it weird for me to say I enjoy this more now than the other night?
No, I actually think that's
Holy
actually
crap.
the case.
Okay.
I feel the same way as you do.
I don't know why, if it's because of all the people around, I don't know what, but this is actually.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a little more bang bang. You got a whole bunch of people. Everyone's kind of trying things, talking about it and stuff like that. And you're just kind of like, okay, yeah. But you're also trying okay, I'm not in my zone. I got other elements going around. I'm not sure,
I got 0 nose the other night from this.
Really?
Like I had to pop it, and it still didn't get much of a nose.
Really?
So that's why I was wondering. I was going to say that's so weird. You said the same thing. I feel it's better tonight than it was the other night. Yeah, the nose at least.
And a little difference, I think, with the tasting glasses too. They had those little teardrop tasting glasses.
That's true.
There.
Yeah,
and you told us a couple. Was it a week ago or 2 ago?
Glencairn or these whatever Banners uses these. I got to see the name of them, but yeah, a true Glencairn or these other glasses, much better nose than the little sippers. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So as we're nosing here, I actually got to have some fun. So it's been a while on the Mashup Podcast since Anthony has done Incomplete History. I'm talking of myself in the third person here. So, Kenny, you're
back when in 1433.
Way back when. You're gonna have
go.
You're gonna have to help me out here a little bit because there'll be some times I mess up. So, the first thing that sticks out to me, we were talking to Joe. They had a picture of the distillery and they had a picture of other things that are significant to them that were like off to the side of where Kyle was standing next to a merch table and some other fun stuff that they had going on there. And they mentioned Lewis and Clark, right?
Yes.
They mentioned the expedition, the famous expedition of Lewis and Clark, and being that the property where Ben Holladay sits is an original place for Lewis and Clark, and they investigated, right?
Right.
They were in 1804.
No, that 100%. They're being serious, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's a really cool thing because a lot of people like history and stuff like that. It's great. But who is Ben Holladay, right? If you look at what the distillery has versus what's on Wikipedia versus what other historical groups have, there is a great variance, sir. Okay. So I'm going by my quick Wikipedia here, and this is my summary of Wikipedia / the other 4 sources that I looked at. So Benjamin Holladay, who actually was born in Kentucky, believe it or not. Did you know that?
Kentucky bourbon, bro.
He was born in Kentucky. So he was a transportation magnate, right? He was known for creating the overland stage to California during the height of the 1849 California Gold Rush. So this nice thing that I often refer to as a Conestoga wagon that you see the stagecoach on the front of the bottle, that's his thing.
He was taking people to California for gold.
He was a transportation guy. He was known as a stagecoach king, in fact. And he settled in Weston, Missouri. This is, of course, much later than when he was in Kentucky. And then this is the part where I get all messed up, man. He was a store clerk serving as a courier during the 1838 Mormon War, or some kind of state militia thing that was going on in Missouri. And I'm like, what? Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, who's fighting and what are they fighting about? I don't know. Essentially, they had the store, they had a tavern, a hotel, they had a transportation, all this other kind of stuff. But then we have actually what's first known, I think, as Blue Spring Distillery, which is the Holladay brothers. That's like the first instantiation, I think, of it. And even if it's wrong, it doesn't matter because it's a Mashup Podcast. And then later it becomes McCormick Distilling. But, that's kind of like where they started distilling. Dude, that's the background of it.
Yes.
And it's crazy because I'm sure, Kenny, you probably got like more information than I did. This was just my quick internet research.
Night. It was insane.
And what else did they?
So MGP
supplement. Yeah.
So MGP.
Yeah, MGP.
Midwest Grain Products.
Yes.
Before it was MGP, it was like, so the family members that are part of this McCormick,
right,
are the old school original MGPs.
Oh, no way.
So MGP has places in this McCormick,
so that's
Missouri.
Part of the lineage there.
Dude, so they are legit tied way back to all of that.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm going to get this wrong, but basically like MGP was, before they were known as their current MGP, they were McCormick's and tied into Missouri and this and that. And then once they bought from Seagram's and LDI, and they became like they actually bought out MGP currently.
Right.
They were actually legit old school, these MGP guys, like way back when.
And that's crazy. The only thing
dude.
I know of in Missouri, isn't Luxco in Missouri? I think Luxco's in Missouri.
Luxco,
as well.
yeah, they have something tied with that, based out of that as well.
I believe it, because now that's all tied in. And I was going to say, like, that's the only other.
But
like,
MGP bought Luxco.
Yes, big Missouri brand that I know that is still.
According to what I heard, like even though MGP bought Luxco, somehow with like the board of the director seats, Luxco is like still in charge or owned instead of something kind of weird.
We talked about that in one episode, and I botched everything. Yeah. So I'll have to find what episode that is and go back to, because I don't know if I got it right or not, but it's pretty interesting.
You got it good enough for the mashup.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all we need. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. So there's actually a quote in I don't even want to say this, in Wikipedia that described Holladay as illiterate, coarse, boastful, false, and cunning. And it said that his attorney described him as possessing many of the characteristics of Napoleon. And so when I laughed...
Now, was that Holladay or was that Kenny Mills? What did you say now? What does Wikipedia say?
Oh my God, it might be Kenny Mills.
Kenny Mills.
I had to laugh about that because I thought,
funny,
like,
though, dude.
The guy's a businessman, he's successful and all these things, so I'm sure he had a lot of haters. So that's probably what that is. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
But it's interesting though that they didn't. So a lot of bourbon brands, like I'm thinking of, what's the place in Indiana? They name all their stuff after like people in French Lick, Spirits of French Lick.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So they name all their bourbons and they use the likeness of all these historical people from French Lick.
Right.
It would have been really easy for them to put a picture of Ben Holladay because they exist on the front of this bottle. But instead they didn't do that. They went with the Stagecoach and the old label, and I think that's pretty cool. And maybe, just maybe, I wondered if they wanted to distance themselves a little bit from just a mugshot.
Possibly.
Or do something different, right?
Possibly. But I have seen some videos of that place.
Okay.
And Alves, when he first went there, told me, he was like, imagine just the most beautiful Kentucky distillery.
Yep.
Played it down in Missouri.
Wow.
So, like, I think later this year, we're going to have the benefit of going to a Jack Daniels pick.
Yep.
This is supposed to be kind of like how beautiful that is set in Missouri. Like, it's absolutely beautiful, with tons of just acres of farmland around it, but just a beautiful, beautiful place. And they have a natural spring on site as well.
Yeah, that's their water source.
Yeah, man.
That's honestly, I think, and I hope that when we taste this here in a minute, that it's going to be what differentiates them from others. I think water has a lot to do with great bourbon, especially for those who we might consider to be craft. And so I think we should get to tasting. What do you think, my friend?
Man, let's do it, man. Seriously, I'm ready to taste.
Let's do it. So there's nothing unpleasant, okay? And I'm being 100% honest. First sip, you get a little bit of hit of alcohol. You get that caramel. It's really nice. You get a little bit of like a nut backbone, right, in the sip. And I'm not sure what kind of nut it is. Some kind of maybe like Brazilian nut, maybe walnut. It's definitely there. It's not quite earthy. It's nutty.
Almond-y?
Almond?
I get almond more.
Might be almond. But there's definitely a nut there. I'm not sure which one it is. And I don't know, man. I kind of like it. I think it's pretty good.
I enjoy that. That's actually good.
Yeah. Not sure what else I pick out. Any other notes? I know you're not a notes guy.
Caramel, brown sugar, just your normal bourbon notes.
Not a heavy vanilla. It's a darker sip. If I was to actually characterize it,
I didn't say vanilla.
Darker.
Yeah. Caramel, brown sugar.
Yeah. It's a lot more
almond-y.
Yeah, darker things going on here. Not like light.
So this is 6 years age stated.
Mm-hmm.
and they are going to put out pretty much anything will be 6 years or older, they said.
Right. Which it's nice because the oak is actually mid-palate, and it kind of teeters on being astringent. And it's funny because I know people who listen to this are probably like, what does that mean, oak teetering on astringent? It's not, but it teeters on it. It's like once you got a nice sweetness, and then it turns over to like a nut flavor that's a little earthy, which might be the almond and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. It's a good sip for a 6-year-old bottle and bond.
That's only $59.
That's only $59, yeah, absolutely.
$59.
And we're going to talk about that here in a second because what about spice characteristics? You get any spices?
I'm being honest right now because we're not on video, just on, what are we on? Microphone only? Audio?
We're on MySpace.
we need like cameras also. We need to do like video podcasts.
Yeah, at some point in time we should do that. Yeah.
So I've actually been hitting 2 other blinds next to this.
Okay.
Just to try to go back and forth. So let me go back to this exact one real quick.
Yeah, and you have a blind poured for me next to this.
I have 2 blinds poured for you.
Oh, you have 2?
Yes.
I only have 1 right now.
I have 1 over here by me.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Well, I have the 1 blind, but
because
I'm going to tell you in a second what I do with that blind.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and hit this again real quick.
Okay.
It's a light spice.
Right.
So it's not a overbearing. This is just enough spice to just carry it, but it's not going to be overbearing at all.
Right. And so
I like that.
That's my read on it too, and that's why I wonder what you thought of it. And whatever the blind is that you poured me, the other blind is brighter. And when I say it's brighter, it drinks up to like more citrusy. It's got more spice. It's got more brightness. But the brightness is not necessarily something I equate with good. I actually like the fact that Holladay is running on a darker register. When I say darker register, it's just more chewy. It's a little bit more accentuated with the flavors that you're tasting.
And the blind I poured you, I just drank it right now.
Yeah.
Not as caramelly, not as brown sugar either. Not at all.
100% different. It's a more like, I would call brighter citrus fruits. And
now
like
the third
florally.
blind you don't have is right here. Try that right there.
All right. Here's the third blind now.
Third blind. See what you think about that one.
I know that you have a method of your madness.
Yeah. So last night at dinner, talking to the Holladay guys, they were like, we enjoy Kentucky and we enjoy you guys because you all actually care about what you are drinking.
Right.
They were talking about some other places they've been, some other events they have coming up, that the people are more about the label and what it is and how exclusive and blah, 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 blah.
How boring.
And then we started talking about the blinding aspect.
Yeah.
And Alves and Mossick both were like talking about how blind people to oblivion.
Yep.
And they kind of enjoyed that. But that's why, I'm truly like, just because they gave me a bottle, man, doesn't mean, honestly, I liked the guys last night.
Right.
But just because they gave me a bottle doesn't mean I'm going to like love their bourbon.
Right.
I'm going to talk about it like 100% honesty right now.
Right. I agree. And so the blind you just handed me,
yes,
I think was actually in the middle of the two.
Yeah.
And when I say in the middle of the two, there was a little bit of light smoke to it. There was classic bourbon flavors.
Right.
The caramel was there more so than the other blind.
Yep.
It was nice. I liked it. It was a good sip.
But it was way more muted than the Ben Holladay.
Right, 100%. It was almost
Okay.
like you could taste the water. The nice thing with the Ben Holladay at 100 proof is it definitely drinks like it's, I don't know if it's so weird to say it. It drinks almost like it's unblended. Like, okay, we've blended it, we've added a water to it, but it's not like blended, like we've blended the flavor out.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I can't wait to hear what you've poured here. Do you remember what you poured?
Oh,
sir?
yeah. And that's a...
Almost got him.
But the Ben Holladay is a very good... that's 6 years age stated. Typical brown sugar.
Right.
Caramel. A little bit of spice. Dark, deep, rich for $59 readily available.
I know.
That's pretty cool, bro.
You know, it's funny. It's cool, and I watch a lot of the media. I don't know if that comes through on the podcast, but if you're out there and you're wondering, like, hey, I wonder if Anthony at the Mashup has ever watched my YouTube video or has listened to my podcast. I do a lot of that, and I don't.
He does. He sends us links all the time.
Yeah, I send links all over the place. I'm trying to do things, and so when it comes to Ben Holladay, I hate to say this, but I see a lot of reviews. People like, Oh, the hot internet bourbon that people care about. And that didn't influence me. I'm over like, okay, what hot internet bourbon? I don't even know anything about this. Like, I literally was sitting over there at the event going, what am I going to walk up and say to this guy? He's a master distiller. He has invested his time and effort into making this distillate, and I literally know nothing about it. Zero. I'm going to walk over and I'm talking about making pancakes from soft red wheat. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, so, but I still watch I watch these media of what people say about it. And I've seen everything from people saying it's overrated to people saying, oh, it's worth the hype. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what sense to make of that.
Two things on that.
Okay.
Number one, my different thought process when I saw him was I poured him a 23-year, 115 proof Irish whiskey finished in Malaga cask.
Are you serious?
So I pocket poured him. I wasn't worried about what he was thinking about, whatever, dude. I'm like, I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Oh, my God.
And my second thing is, Ben Holladay's legit. That's my second thing. Because I've had so many. I've had 4 different single barrels plus a few of their core expressions.
Right.
They're actually legit, guys. Like, seriously.
Well, meeting them and that being my first time and not knowing anything, the only thing I knew about anything Ben Holladay was in Best of 2023, I know that Alves put a soft red wheat, I believe. I don't know if it's a pick or if it's regular soft red wheat into the Best of 2023 blinds. And it did okay. Nobody hated it. But it didn't like rise like to the point where it surprised anybody. And so for me, that was the only experience I had. And being that it was, I mean, I didn't think much of it after that.
I was like, this was like finished, 30th or whatever it finished.
Right.
But I was like, dude, these are like the best of the whole entire year.
Right.
So once I revisited it that way, I'm like, yeah, you're right. So Anthony, I stepped away from the microphone right now.
You did. I saw you running around. I wasn't sure what you were doing. I was like, come on, man.
I have a 4th blind.
Another one?
Well, actually, 3rd blind because we have Ben Holladay plus 2 other blinds. This is the 3rd blind for total number 4.
Do you know what these are going to be here?
I got them all, bro.
Oh, my God.
All right, so I'm giving Anthony the 3rd blind to go against this.
And I'm wondering if any of them are going to beat it yet because I don't think any of them beat.
Right. I don't think they beat it, but the one I just gave you is better than I remember. So just being honest right now. But I don't think it's going to hold up, though. I don't think it's going to hold up. So I just do encourage blinding, and more blinding.
So 4th blind, I will say I probably would put in 2nd place because 4th blind has a really nice cherry note. And I'm a sucker for cherry notes, but it's not viscous. It's got a thinner mouthfeel.
Watery, bro.
Watery as hell. And so, gosh, when I say put it in 2nd place, that might even be strong.
It might even be 3rd place.
Nice flavor. It's a nice flavor.
Might even be 3rd place, though.
No, it might be 3rd.
All right. So,
are we revealing first, or how are we going to do this?
I would think you want to reveal what we blinded against first?
Yeah, I think so.
And then we do pass by?
Yeah, I'd like that, especially because with Ben Holladay, let's face it, the craft stuff is out there. With that in mind, I want to give like a good candid assessment on what I think, especially because I know your method to your madness.
And Ben Holladay is not craft that is sourcing from someplace else.
Right.
They're their own juice. That's what makes them different, man. It's their own stuff.
Real quickly, before we get to it, Missouri has its own standard for bourbon whiskey, right? And that means that,
yes.
And it has to be
legislated, I think now.
It's a legislation from 2019.
Yeah.
So it has to be distilled, like the grains have to be sourced, mashed.
They're corn from Missouri.
Right. So mashed, distilled, bottled, and actually aged with Missouri oak, I believe, right? That's the other kicker here, is that their barrels have to be made from oak trees in Missouri, which is crazy.
That I don't know, but
I think that's
I will trust the mashup logic on that.
If we got it or not, I'm just saying, like, they literally want it all from grain to glass in Missouri in order to call it Missouri bourbon, and Ben Holladay checks all the boxes.
All right, so the blind report, the blind sitting by you.
Yes, sir.
Compared to this one that I gave you.
Okay.
Where were you at on those? I can't remember what you were at on that. So that's the one that I did not have next to you. So there's that. compared to the blonde? Do you have some of the blonde left
Yeah,
that I gave you? Okay. So where would those rate?
So I think I would actually take the blind that was next to me over the one that you had poured.
Okay. Perfect. That's cool.
Yep.
All right. And then the final blonde that I gave you, the final blonde I just poured.
Right.
Right here. I'm giving it to you right now. All right. Where would that rate next to all those?
So for different reasons, I'm going to go that would second place for me just because I like that nice delicate cherry note. But
But you are still.
It's thin.
Holladay
it's very
first.
Thin.
Holladay first, though?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I like Holladay the best, honestly.
All right. So this is where we're at right here with these guys.
Yes.
So Anthony Blind is first place Ben Holladay 6-year bottled and bond. Second place is Blanton's.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it was BT because I love my BT.
What about the one you have sitting next to you and the one I just gave you there? You like the other one better?
The one I have sitting next to me, I'm not sure on.
But you liked it better than this one?
Yeah, the one that you have.
Okay, so
the odd man
so
out. I feel
third
like
place for Anthony is E.H. Taylor.
Oh,
bottled and bond 100 proof.
Wow, that's not surprising though because I don't like the florals. I said floral, didn't I say floral?
Yep.
I don't like the florals.
Then the last place is the Heaven Hill Five Brothers.
Yes. Okay.
But my method of madness on this is we have a Blanton, which is $100, $110 secondary.
Right.
We have E.H. Taylor, which if you can find it at retail, you walk in the store, you get lucky, you're $50 to $60, but these are really $85, $95 locally.
Right.
The Five Brothers is like a $60, $70 bottle. All of that next to a $59 readily available.
Right.
$59 won first place. Mm-hmm. Blanton second place. E.H. Taylor third place. Five Brothers fourth place.
And you know what's funny?
That's my method of madness, bro.
And I appreciate that. And I wanted to know, how do you feel about it? Do you feel the same way I do?
I would potentially put E.H. Taylor ahead of Blanton like you had Blanton second place.
Yes.
Might even put Five Brothers above Blanton, but they could be tied. So I'm very close to you, other than I might go E.H. Taylor ahead of Blanton's.
Do you know what's funny about Five Brothers? How much is Five Brothers?
$59 to $69 minimum.
Okay.
That's if you can find it.
So I think Five Brothers, to be honest with you, from a big distillery is like, I'm not going to call it garbage. None of these whiskeys are bad. None of them are bad. But I feel like we did so you weren't on the podcast then, but we did a Heaven Hill showdown between the green label 6-year, the white label 6-year, the 7-year white label.
Okay.
Those three.
Yeah.
And I actually preferred the 100 proof green label, the blended, or not even 100, that's 90, I think. It was 90 proof green label blended over the bottled and bond 6-year and the 7-year Heaven Hill. Something about that weird mid-proof range, the little bit of smoke you get and the flavors. I tasted it in this Five Brothers, and it's kind of funny. This literally, in your blind, matches what I know of my own palate and how I feel about E.H. Taylor for some of their products. And dang, man, how about Ben Holladay? I'm feeling good about that. Dude. I'm feeling really good about that blind.
Dude, no,
like dang good,
that's
man.
That's why I wanted to pour you these.
Holy cow.
I wanted to try to give you
I'm going to go for
and our listeners
here.
I want to give you and our listeners a more accurate representation of removing the veil, the price tag, the label, the availability out of the equation, man.
So is that, do you want me to lead into that? Kenny, would you pass, try, or buy on this Ben Holladay bottled and bond 6-year bourbon whiskey, Missouri?
I will go
whiskey.
first.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Buy.
A buy. Wow, just like that. He just said buy it, and then he moved away from the microphone.
Simple as that.
Yeah. And
buy.
And here's what I'm going to say about it. So, I like to get analytical. The fact that you lined up these blinds, I think that if you're looking for a whiskey that is coming from a place that's not sourced, it's good stuff, and it's, people like to say they have something unique. What is more unique than a Missouri bottled and bond?
That's their stuff.
Yeah, their stuff. 6-year-old bourbon that tastes really good.
That's their stuff.
Exactly. And so now that I have the time to sit with this and isolate it and taste it against other things, it's actually very freaking good.
It is.
Yeah.
And so keep in mind, before we turn the microphones on, we were 2012, Michter's 20, 2014, Michter's 20.
We tasted a lot of good stuff.
Willets, some crazy stuff.
We primed the palate with some really good stuff.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks to Larry. What'd you say, Larry?
Damn you, Larry.
Hey, Larry.
Yeah.
But now that we put this next to Blanton's, E.H. Taylor, Five Brothers, bro, it's better, man. It's the number one tonight.
Yeah. I dig it, man. I dig it. I think when I'm thinking about, again, I talk about craft. I'm not calling them craft. I'm just saying Ben Holladay, I think they've arrived. I think they are doing great things there. I think they can be your new favorite craft whiskey. What do you think, man?
It's kind of like if before you even knew what Amazon was.
Right.
And you were like, oh, Amazon, I can buy their stock. I mean, Ben Holladay is going to be 5 years from now, you can be like, holy crap, where's Ben Holladay?
Right.
Because they're already right now at 6 years, 7 years doing some crazy, insane stuff of their own juice, of their own distillate. I think 2 years from now, you're going to be like, holy cow.
And on a closing note, I just want to say that when we had a chance to meet Kyle and Joe, what incredibly humble people.
Nice people. Humble people.
Super nice people. And in this game, we can buy whiskey from a lot of people, right? Because there's massive amount of SKUs on the shelf. When you see really great people, they spend time with you, they got good stuff going on. I mean, that makes it even easier to want to support them.
But to be fair, we did blind it tonight.
I know, we blinded.
I blinded you at least.
Absolutely.
You were totally blind to that.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure that it stood up, and it did, man.
Right.
100% stood up.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.